Hey boys and girls, Mr. Gann here with our next artist of the week. This one is Henri Matisse, and as you have watched the book, hopefully you learned a little bit about him, but he was around about 100 years ago, and he was a very, very good artist, and I just think that he did a lot with collage, which is where you cut things out and glue them, but he also was a painter, a sculptor, a printmaker. He was one of those kind of guys that you can give him a piece of construction paper and he could just make an amazing design out of it. And so he was really good at being a draftsman, which is organizing areas, like maybe like an architect is a draftsman, where they design the buildings. He was really good at doing this with colors and shapes. And we're going to look at a little bit of his artwork, and then you're going to make your own design out of either painted paper, or you can do an actual painting. We're going to look at a couple of his paintings, and then we're going to look at some of his collage where they're cut pieces of paper. So let's look at the first one. This is actually, you can see that there's a little self-portrait of him at the top there, and I guess when he was a little bit younger, I know some of the book, it shows him with, you know, gray hair, and he's an old man in bed, but so he was doing artwork for a long time before he had to stay in bed to make a lot of his artwork. Let's look at the first picture here. Here we have one of his paintings. If you notice the brush strokes, you can see the brush strokes. We call this impressionism, where the brush strokes they're not hidden. You can see them. You can see the marks he's making. So this is what we would call an impressionist painting. And so this was really popular when he was an artist. This was the style that everybody was doing, and it was new, and nobody had done anything like this before. So he was right there making artwork, but then he goes a step further, and he kind of creates his own way of making artwork, as you will see in the collages. And there wasn't a lot of people that were painting paper, cutting it out and making new designs, not the kind of size that he was doing them in, and we'll see a couple of those. Here's a real famous painting of his. I know a lot of people talk about how the tablecloth and the wall kind of meet, but we know that this is the wall and this is the tablecloth. So I've heard a lot of people talk about that area in the painting, and it's pretty interesting the way he did that. He chose to do that. He didn't do that on accident. You can tell that he's using bright colors, yellow, red, and blue. You know, the primary colors. He's using secondary colors, green and purple, real kind of basic colors, but you know, just arranging them, the arrangement of them is very complex. You move around the picture and all the different areas, and you can focus outside the window as well as focusing on the lady working here. So as the book talked about, when he was getting a little older, he had some illness, so instead of being able to do the paintings, he started using scissors, and he made some really famous artwork out of cutting out paper. So here's one piece. Every time I show this to the kids, they always say, wow, it looks like underwater, it looks almost like coral, and you can see that it does, in fact. And so all these shapes, we call these organic shapes. Organic shapes are shapes that you're going to see in nature, leaves, trees. They're not always straight. They have curves in them, and these are organic shapes, and this is one of his compositions, one of his collages. I put this one in here because I wanted you to see how big these things are, some of them. Okay, so you can see this is a wall here. Okay, so if you were standing here, you would probably only come about halfway to this. So these were big collages he was making, and I just think that's really interesting. I think that I love the shapes. They're simple shapes, but they're complex. He had a real good eye, a good way of arranging all his shapes. to make an interesting picture. Here's another one. On this one, he's used different colors for the background, and then he's laid these white shapes on top of them. And there's one dark shape up there. So he was very good at making just these very interesting little designs, and that's what I want you guys to do. I want you to, if you can paint paper, cut it out, collage it. If you just want to do a painting with watercolors in an impressionist style, you can do that also. I'm going to kind of leave it up to you, but I did want to introduce this artist to you because I think he's a great artist. Here's another one. Every time I show this to the kids, they always say it looks like Frozen, and it does in a way. It does look like ice, blue, white is always associated with ice, and then the shapes of the almost like angels or snowflakes. So here's another one of his designs he did. And here he is sitting in bed, as talked about in the book. And you can see he really is drawing on his walls. Okay, so nothing stopped this guy from making art, not even being sick. Okay, this guy was all about art. He's a great artist. I hope you enjoyed learning about him, and I'm looking forward to see how you create your artwork in a Matisse style. Okay, so you're going to do a Matisse style artwork. You've seen a few of his different artworks, and have fun while doing it. And we look forward to seeing you next time.